up till I'm on top.
Yo,
Yeah.
no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. It's probably a good thing that nobody got to hear what I had to say, because I was talking about a stable of hosts. I took the hooker again today. I lost an overtime EuroLeague basketball game by 5. I saw it tied 96-96 in the fourth quarter. 30 seconds to go. I stopped watching. I know how that goes. We've seen this story before. It's not my first rodeo. And then they lost. So I had to get some tracks down with my man there. I was listening to what was going down, just going through the archives of some of the best in the business, the best guy in the business to do it. My guy, Jay Peasy. Hopefully you guys could hear that. Hopefully you could hear. I know it's not Saturday, but man, we are almost there. Thursday is connected to Friday. By the time we get to Friday, it's weekend time, and we are almost at Saturday. We will be popping off with the UFC live stream. You already know. I put the time in on the graphics. That shit takes time, man. All these graphics. The graphics for this show, the graphics for Saturdays, the graphics for Sundays. Man, that shit is time consuming. My least favorite spot of the week is Monday morning, because I got to set all the shows up. And we're up to 21 of them now. 21 shows here at the Sports Money Network. And I got to punch them all in. Not just punch them in. Like, I click the button and choose it to go on Twitter. But you got to do this SEO stuff. And you got to do the titling stuff. And you got to, oh, man. Oh, man. Actually, I think we're even more than 21 now if you start factoring in some of these live football games, too. But anyhow. The graphics come Thursday for the UFC. Got to put all those images in there. Got to get all their heights and weights. Got to then go to Bet Online and get all the odds. Then I got to do it for football. It's like, God damn. Why don't I have an intern yet? Anyhow, appreciate everybody joining us here at the Sports Money Network. I told you we're going to move along faster, so you guys get here sooner. I will get rocking sooner. I just want to get some time in between the end of this show and the start of the next show. And tonight we pop live, baby, 7:45. It's Thursday night football. It's an extravaganza. I'm going to have a same game parlay. You already know we're going to have first touchdown scoring props. That's always a fun segment. I think you guys enjoy that. I enjoy that. Then we're going to have sides and totals. We'll have prop bets. You know the deal. The crew will be here ready to assemble. You'll see razor sharp picks. You'll see MMA Jeff. You'll see Ramon Scott. You'll see Keith each and every stride here tonight and more as the evening unfolds. It's going to be a fun Thursday night. So it's only right we had the squad rocking as we get it done. Let's see. I said this before. I'll say it again. There's some guys that roll up in our community that have some mental health challenges. And I've said before, you got to get that help as required. Dallas Cowboys lost a soldier, I guess it was last night. Mental health issues, calling everybody, saying goodbye to him, and then off himself at the end. You got to get the help that you need when you need it. I don't want to start off in a somber tone, but again, I know that we got some guys in our community that have some sickness, and try to position them try to ask them nicely, get some help. And, unfortunately it gets sometimes to the point that you got to block them because they just won't listen. They won't help themselves. And it's important that you take that time to do just that. So difficult situation for the Dallas Cowboys, but we will say our moment. We will continue on along the way because we do have plenty of money to be made this evening. I got to make it back up for the goddamn overtime loss, man. Yeah, it stung. Yeah, there was real money on the line. Yeah, it sucked going. The worst part is I knew going into overtime that shit was going to happen. Now, other shit that I told you was going to happen is matches are going to be fixed. I showed you evidence before in an NFL game. Oh, the guy just randomly bounced backwards like there was an invisible wall around the player. That was evidence. That was hardcore match fixing evidence. Now, the UFC has got some issues going on right now. They are under siege. Very difficult. I enjoy the sport. We saw what happened last week. Bulgarian is being investigated. Said that Dana White and company are working with the FBI. And it looks like there's some gyms that are already being attacked, that are already being investigated. Confiscating phones, conducting interviews, reviewing matches. Alleged. But some really repugnant shit. You know what I mean? Taking something so fun, so pure, like dudes kicking each other in the face and somehow fixing it. Allegedly. But, boy, that is a rabbit hole to climb down. And it's just another example of this is for entertainment. They all say it at the post of the shows. This was for your entertainment. This was for, everything says it's for your entertainment. So hopefully you're being entertained. I've been entertained with some of these games. Look, it's going to happen. It's the human element. We've talked about it before, but it's just sad. I don't mind as long as I'm on the right side of it, personally. You guys go ahead and do what you got to do. I'll try to figure out who the right spot is going to be. And we've seen some JFs. We've seen some match effery. We've seen all of it. So it's no surprise to me. Just disappointing. And I guess that's about it. For the doom and gloom for the day, because I'm ready to fire away. Again, we got a great night of sports. We got a great night of action. I got a great card lined up here. I think the Blues and Sabres, the Caps and Penguins, the Florida Panthers, the LA Kings, 3 spots for you guys in the NHL. Oh, yeah. And why not this up there on the screen? A little three-leg player prop parlay. Bang! 17-1. Ehlers plays for the Carolina Hurricanes. Tage Thompson plays for the Buffalo Sabres. And Timmy Stutzel plays for the Ottawa Senators. So there you go. I'll leave that on the screen for a moment while I get to the business of the business of the business. This business has to be recap business here. Weird day yesterday. Hopefully you guys are following along over on the Win Club. I was firing live bets last night. Just sit around. First strikes out there for you guys to check out, by the way. 3 plays for the UFC on Saturday. Then I started doing some editing. I started doing some posting around all the places that stuff has to get posted to. And I was like, man, we start live betting some of these spots. So I think I went 3-1 on some live bets last night. No show for me, just fucking live betting. So, okay. Let's see what happened around the world yesterday. Really quick for us in sports. We killed it in the UCL. Had that NIU game under 13.5. Never in doubt. Literally never in doubt. Even though they scored 3 points right away, they still moved the live total to 10.5. We lost by the hook and I guess it wasn't the hook. I guess it was 3. It was at some 3.5s, but 3, they lost by 4. Right? NHL wise, cashed the Toronto in the over 5.5. That was a plus. It ended up being plus 148. Did not cash the St. Louis Blues. They got busted the fuck up 6-1 against the Capitals. And did not cash the Columbus Blue Jackets. They lost 5-1. So, dropped a half a unit there. Had some plus money shots. Didn't get there. The Utah Jazz suck. They suck again. Got hooked on that fucker. Well, 10.5. They lose by 11. There's a hooker. Julius Randle cashed his over points, though. Easy cash. That was literally, he had 20.5. He had fucking 9 in the first quarter, I think was the total. So that was easy money given out to you. Thought a great revenge spot for Julius Randle. But I took the Timberwolves and they got busted up by 23 points. So that sucked. It's like a sick fucking joke, right? Carlton gets blown out, 36 points. Got New Mexico. Beautiful New Mexico. Busting them boys up. The Pit's a tough place to play. We laid 22 points. They won by 22 points. We got hooked in that one. Literally. You would have thought there was a stable rolling around me last night. And then OKC loses by, 3 points outright to them Timberwolves. So. And then I lost a game in overtime today by the hook. So what are you going to do? That's the way it goes. We're going to pick ourselves up. We're going to brush ourselves off, and we're going to go get after it here today. So I appreciate everybody joining. I will give a shout out because the Win Club yesterday was a little bit better a story to tell. Some plays, again, I gave out those live bets over there. Live bets firing, and the best way to get them because of the text alerts is over at Winnable. 2-0 in soccer. 2-3 in hockey. I dumped an eighth of a unit or 0.8 units there. 4-2 in the NBA, went 1.8 units there. 1-1 in college basketball. 0-2 in college football. Ended up 1.17 up. Better than being down. But all in all, for me on the day, it ended up just kind of being a push. It was kind of disgusting. So here's the player prop parlay to kick this card off. It's 3 legs. It's in the NHL. It's a full NHL card tonight. I went through. I hand selected some of these spots. Eller's a second line guy, but he plays on the first power play. This dude to get a power play point is plus 325. I think Carolina goes out there and bitch slaps them boys tonight, so I think that's a really good look. Tage Thompson's been the workhorse for the Buffalo Sabres. We're going to talk about that Sabres game shortly, but over 3.5 shots. Had a really nice price tag to it. And Stutz is just the guy. I mean, he's just one of those guys where when he gets on and the Ottawa Senators get popping, he's, again, one of the straws that stirs the drink out there. So all 3 of these guys, but I didn't want to get crazy. Like I thought about Carolina's goalie getting over in his saves, but I think Carolina fucks them boys up. And, after the other game with Minnesota, just don't want to get in that position. So in any event, you guys know the deal here. It's time to show some support for the show. You can certainly support the squad and myself over at Winnable, but the most important thing to do is smash that thumbs up button. If you haven't done so already, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Give that thumbs up a click, and let's talk some sports tonight. Trying to get better. Whoop, I wasn't doing that to be a jerk. It was an accidental click. It's an accidental clicking. Probably going to happen a lot tonight. It's a live stream tonight at 7:45. So I can't promise it won't. But I'll tell you this, you guys. I can promise if you join us there, it'll be a great time. And we're going to make some jokes. We'll see MMA Jeff probably fucking wild out like he does when he gets a couple cocktails in him. It's going to be a good time. I'm excited for it. And it's going to be, live betting galore. We've been firing, man. I cashed 2 out of 3 in the same game parlay arena. We had a 3-game run going with first touchdown scores. There's actually 4 because Jeff came, he wasn't on, but the next day he got that first touchdown score. Man, no place you'd rather be. And be it is where we are here. I want you guys to get your best bets in the chat. I want to comment on your plays. It's my favorite spot of the show. Jay Peasy. There he is. There's my guy. Jay Peasy. Motherfucking hook on that EuroLeague game, man. Damn. And then I was muted. Thanks, Blake. Thanks, Robert. Thanks, Dale. Thanks, Steve. Steve Eleftherian. Haven't seen him in a minute. Appreciate you, Steve. Let's go. Cactus Black's in the house. David Wallace is checking in. Plant-based is here. Trevor85 says, how about them Blazers? I was all over the Blazers Moneyline. I think I mentioned it yesterday, too. I believe you did, Trevor. Robert McCormick says, good evening. Bet and Such. What's up, Bet and Such? Says, yo, there's a name I haven't seen before. Bet and Such. Welcome to the Sports Money Network. Peter Gracia says, hey, Mikey, let's get after it in cash. Bet and Such says, fired up. Stop Geoengineer says, good luck to my motherfucking people and my brother. From another at Pimp Slap POD. Shout out to you, Stop Geo. I told you. I gave you the vibe of the day, brother. Sandy says, cash to plus 220 on the Sharks at 6-1. Damn, nice job, Sandy. Weekers Midnight says, hit the bookies with the Pimp Slap. What's up, Weekers Midnight? You guys, welcome into the show tonight. I'm going to break you through a bunch of spots that I like here. We're going to get after it, but I got this. I want to keep it out there for just another second. Eller's power play point. Again, a spot that we want to dominate with this MFer. How about that? I'll just keep it to the MFer. Again, second line, but top power play unit. Scored his first goal as a Hurricane last game. So you know what happens. Things loosen up. The monkey's off the bat. You're ready to go. And you got the Wild, who allow the second most points to left wingers on the season. Why not see an Ehlers? Now, Ehlers' point, if you want to get really shiesty with this thing, you can grab his point for around minus 130 and then play his power play point at plus 325. As long as he gets a point, you're good. And if he scores on the power play, you just made 4.5 units. So 4.25 units. Sometimes my math is a little fuzzy when we get to 6 p.m. So again, first spot of the day there. Then I'm looking at Tage Thompson. I'll say it again. This dude firing, offensive scoring machine. You can't score goals if you're not out there putting the puck on the net. And we'll talk about why I think the Sabres are a good spot tonight. The Blues stink, man. Bet the Blues the other night. They fucking stink. Even against Edmonton, they had to have a massive comeback to get the win. They stink. And then Stützle. Like I said, that guy's the production wagon that is the Ottawa Senators tonight. So I've got some premium plays over at Winnable. Winnable.com/Mikey Money. You can use 25 off to get 25% off. But I'm going to talk to you about a lot of plays that I enjoy here. I've got money in these in some way, shape, or form. They are parts of parlays. They are parts of teasers. They are parts of whatever the fuck I want them to be parts of, because that's how I roll up in here. We're going to start this thing with the St. Louis Blues and the Buffalo Sabres. And boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Hofer and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, the Buffalo Sabres. He's gone 2 of his last 5. He's got 3 goals against average. Thing is, team rallies around him. See, this is what Buffalo needs. Like, they got a bunch of middle tier guys with Leon, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. You know, they've got Devin Levi sitting around down there in the minors. And I know I'm forgetting some dudes as well, but at the end of the day, can't just keep riding the horse. So you got to go to somebody else, and you need the team to rally around him. So he won his last game out. It was a 31 save on 34 shot attempts. And who was it against? The Washington Capitals. We saw Ovechkin score his 900th goal yesterday. Did you see the scumbaggery from the goalie? He tried pawning it. He tried pocketing the 900th goal puck. I mean, I don't think he was going to get away with it. I'm not sure if it was a joke or not, but I'm sure what would have happened is he would have demanded a king's ransom for Ovi's 900th goal, but sets the NHL high, which is not likely to be broken at least until I'm 100, if I live that long. And with these live streams, I might not. On the other side, Joel Hofer's a pile of dong-dong. He's got a 5.0 goals against average. Might be bottom 3 in the league, this guy right now. And again, defense. I told you the problem with the Blues is their defense. They are the worst in the league. They've allowed almost 60 goals in 14 games. That means they're allowing 4.21 goals against. That's why I like some Tage Thompson tonight. I went with the shots on goal, but I wouldn't be mad at his points as well. Goals, why not? Even a first goal scorer, what the fuck? And they had Binnington in the game for the blowout last night. So this is the second leg of the back-to-back. You know how much the rested team on the second leg of a back-to-back with a travel spot seemed to dominate, and that is the Buffalo Sabres tonight. We've talked about it several times, so just for the sake of keeping things moving, I like the Buffalo Sabres. I wish they were a dog. Just so happens the line's telling us they're a favorite, and they're probably a favorite for a reason, as we've seen over a 70% win rate on the home team playing a dog on the second night of a back-to-back with travel off a home game, especially. I mean, that is just all things, or not a home game, but a second leg of a back-to-back. That is just an amazing stat for us to capitalize on. We're going to take the Buffalo Sabres. We're going to roll on to game number 2. The Washington Capitals and the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I think I covered all my talking points on the previous game, but I realized I messed my stuff up over here. Bear with me for a moment. Sometimes my keyboard has this like phantom thing where it takes the end of my sentence and puts it right in the middle of the sentence. So the Capitals be that team on that second leg of that back-to-back tonight. That's another situation, and that's where the Penguins find themselves in. Furthermore, look, favorites with more rest are 8-2 in their last 10, so that's a big factor. Now, they're not entirely favorites, but they're close enough for me to feel like they're in that favorite with more rest role. You know, home teams, awful loss. Visiting team, awful win. 7-3 in those positions as well. So from a goalie perspective, with this Pittsburgh Penguins squad, Seeloffs, this is the guy they brought over from the Vancouver Canucks. Okay, start to the season. You know, we talked about kind of the tiers and the buckets in the NHL. You got kind of your Vezina, your goaltending, your Calder Trophy guys. You know, they'll be somewhere below a 2. What do you want to call it? A sub 2-2, we'll say, just because if a 2.15, that's still pretty fucking good. So sub 2.15, sub 2.2 is going to be your best goalies in the league status. Then you kind of get this okay, serviceable bucket, which is going to be like your 2.15 to like your 2.75, right? Then you got kind of your dog shit, and it's pretty much everything north of 2.75. So recognizing that breakdown, we have serviceable and Seelovs at 2.66, and then we have Lindgren at 3.46. Chucky Lindgren, the backup on the team that just played the second leg of a back-to-back. Dog shit. 88% save percentage. Excuse me, 91.3. Problem for the Penguins right now is Tristan Jarry just got hurt. So they're going to go with Seelovs. The good thing for us tonight is he's just getting going. So, you know, his last outing, he let up 4 goals. That wasn't great against the Winnipeg Jets, but he still even though he shit the bed, he still has a 2.66 goals against average. I think you got to recognize that. I think you got to recognize these trends with this home situation. And the Capitals kind of had that blown load theory after winning that game 6-1 the other night to the Blues. I think these are some great spots to specifically take that game from last night, stuff the other sides into today's spots out there, and get ourselves paid with a Pittsburgh Penguins minus 105 was the price tag that I was able to procure. Shout out to Tarek B. Shout out to AOD. Appreciate you guys. Derek says, what's up, Mikey? Let's get this money. What up, Derek? Stop, Gio says, I'm pissing with him. That was a good one, wasn't it? Gualos in the house. Weakers Midnight says, furthermore, in any event, furthermore, Cameron Sinet says they already opened up the Islam versus JDM line. You guys really jacked up about that fucking fight, huh? Go check out First Strike. We got 3 plays. We have 2 spots and a parlay. The parlay is a plus 139 for Saturday. It's all free. You guys can go check it out. It's all part of the Sports Money Network if you're new here. Also, you know, we can see the VB MMA picks plays out there, the main event, the co-main event, plus a bonus spot. And if you don't know, VB MMA picks is one of the top UFC cappers in the world. Literally, they track themselves. It's a worldwide tracking capability. And he ranks number 4. You can see him at number 4 overall out of, I don't know, a couple thousand. I think there's 5 or 6,000 overall being tracked in the system. And he's right here on the Sports Money Network. You can get his 3 plays. And he's got a guest every week that join him for those 3 plays. You don't want to miss out on the VB MMA Pick Show. All right, and last but not least, in the NHL, look, you guys know what day of the week is it, right? Now, this just came off an L. So I think it's, I don't want to say what it is. I was going to say 27-2. I was being facetious, but it's pretty damn good. The Florida Panthers will start Sergei Bobrovsky. The Los Angeles Kings will start Anton Forsberg. And we nailed it. The last game for the Kings was a win at home. They had to come off the schneid, and they did it with a backup. Darcy Kemper was the guy. 2-1-1 for Darcy Kemper on the season. And because of that, they'll go to Anton Forsberg tonight. So I like the Florida Panthers in the spot. I do rather enjoy them. Sergei Bobrovsky is their number one guy. It's not just the Thursday factor for me. And if you guys are new here, we've been playing this thing almost in the blind. On Thursdays, the Florida Panthers literally, I'll have to get the exact number because it's pretty damn close to 27-2 to the under. Might be 27-3 to the under. I don't know. It's pretty fucking close. And they play a lot of Thursday games. So it's not a small sample. It's sometimes you just find these trends and you ride them. But the thing is, for me, yes, the Kings just won. They got a backup goaltender in, so they should be a little bit more defense. Oh, not a back. He sucks, right? 3.18. He's in that pile of dog shit category. Okay. he's aging and he stinks. You know, the thing about goaltenders is they get drafted when they're like 18, 19 years old. It takes them till like 25 to catch up to the speed of the NHL. And now this dude's 32 in the backup role. So he's got 7 years of NHL tread on his tires, and he's nothing better than a backup with a 3.18 goals against average. So if you're the Kings, you just picked up your first home win. You've been struggling. Well, you got to play defense. And if you're the Florida Panthers and you're dealing with key injuries to guys like Kachuk and the likes, was it Barkov as well? You're struggling. You're old Mother Hubbard and there ain't shit in the cupboard. In fact, you're struggling to the point that you've lost 7 of your last 10. This number was set at 5.5. I think it makes an absolute ton of sense to jump in there. We'll take this under 5.5 in the LA Kings game with the Florida Panthers in our Thursday trend. And let's get to the bank. Shout out to Magnifico in the house. Sancho says who? I think they're talking some UFC Weekers Midnight. Says sounds like communism. Uh-oh. We don't want that. We don't want that unless we're some of the oligarchs, I guess. Bethune-Cookman is 0-1 to start the season against the Miami Hurricanes. We're going to kick off some college basketball now. Again, if you're new here, I don't spend a lot of time looking at the cash flow splits. You know, sometimes it just doesn't really influence the cap. And it's not so much of a tool unless there's like a real split game where, if there's only 2 games on, I might spend a little bit more time looking at the cash flow. But when you get a card like tonight, it's like, all right, we can be a little more selective around the spots we're going to pick. But I do like to look at the percentage of bets and percentage of cash as it relates to the rest of the sports. Hockey's more of a sharper sport. I've said it before. You know, what typically happens in this position is it's like the WNBA. Not a ton of people bet it. And for whatever reason, I don't know, it's beatable. You know, it's like baseball. By the way, I looked at the recap on the baseball season, 153 units on the year right here. Pre-game and all 1 unit bets. We flat bet everything. We're not chasing. We're not doubling up. We're not dummying up, as I call it. We're just going after it 1 bet at a time. Do it 1 bet at a time. So it doesn't cost you a dime. And that's the way we got after it. But in any event, as I relate to this thing, we do look at this information to get a weather vane. We want to see which direction the wind is blowing and how the books are reacting. Percentage of bets are typically all the bets being written. $1 tickets, $5 tickets, $10 tickets, parlay tickets, teaser tickets, prop bet tickets. It's a soup. It's everything that's being generated. So a lot of that can be public money. Then we look at the cash, the percentage of cash, and we associate that typically with sharper bettors. Not necessarily sharper bettors are bigger bettors, but generally speaking, you know, Joe Schmo off the street ain't coming in with a backpack full of 10 dimes, putting it up on the counter saying, put all this on this spot for me, right? That's typically either somebody that's running for somebody else or it's a syndicate, a conglomerate, somebody that's got some information, maybe in the UFC cases. I don't know. But we look at that as kind of the sharper bets. And in this case, in this Bethune-Cookman Miami University spot, we got some cash coming in on Bethune-Cookman. 81% of the bets from Bethune-Cookman. And 72% of the cash on Bethune-Cookman. So that creates a differential to the Miami side. Arguably, they're saying to some degree, Miami is catching some sharper money. The line hasn't moved, though, regardless. So the books are kind of getting it right where they want. Maybe they set a good number with the minus 16.5. The total's gone from 152.5 as high as 155.5. And you got 70 and 70. So you got 3 points of movement. You know, it's considerable. 3 points on a 70 and 70. Obviously, some bigger money coming in on these guys. A couple things that I looked at overall from a performance perspective, though. Bethune-Cookman starts out 0-1, and they're getting a lofty number because the books say they should get busted up. Problem is with that money coming in on them, now are they going to be competitive when the line hasn't moved? And that's the question that we have at hand. Miami just rolled Jacksonville off the tracks. 86-69. Total was 143.5. So they held the opponent to 69. They won by 17. They didn't cover 19.5. The books brought it down a point to 18.5 from the last game. And you look at Bethune-Cookman, they just got in a barn burner against Auburn. Crazy. Auburn's kind of in a little bit of a rebuild. We talked that as well. 95-90 in that case. They were getting 24.5 points. And here they are they're playing these Miami Hurricanes. To me, I'm not going to lay this points. This is nuts. Miami should blow them out. Public's all over Bethune, so I had to look at the total. Try to be more of an under better across the board, and we've got intersecting zeros. So we like our intersecting zeros. Intersecting zeros mean we got a 0 on one side, we got a 0 on the other side. Miami's 7-0, 7-0 to the under. If that total is less than a 159, they just had a win, and they got 12 or more turnovers. So in other words, they're holding the other team off the board. And they're averaging an under on the total by 8.3 points. So the public dummied this up for us. I like that position, knowing that they're going under by 8.3 on average. We're getting an extra 3 points in our back pocket. That means we got 11 or so in our back pocket. And Bethune-Cookman is 14-0 to the under. If the total's over a 132.5, they had a spread win, and they shot greater than 37%. In other words, for a shit squad like Bethune-Cookman, they shot the lights out. Are they going to do it again? And the answer is no. 14 times they haven't done it again. And they're averaging on total in those games 133.5 points. That gives us an even wider margin. So you can consider 145.5 as that middle point between the two as an alternate line spot. And if you're looking at that, let me just take a peek. We cashed this the last time we talked about this, so it's important that we take a peek. So if we go to one, let's just take a look. Let's just look at this alternate line game. Let's take a look. Sons of bitches texting me while I'm doing this show. What are you doing? You know what I'm doing. You know what I'm doing. What are you doing? 140. Ooh. The books won't let you go lower than 143.5, but a 145.5 is a plus 230. 146.5 is 210. 147.5 is plus 185. So they're showing a little bit of concern based on the incremental drop in variance between 147.5 and 146. So the books think this thing could peg at 147. I'm just going to put a little note in parentheses of 147. And the 147.5 is plus 185. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to go alt lines, though, don't get crazy. Maybe ladder it a little bit. Maybe you can find a little small ladder play in there and have some fun with it. But I'm going to take the under in this game at 155.5. I'm going to roll on to game number 2. That's going to be in the Campbell. Them fighting feisty camels. They're spitters. They are spitters. And they're 0-1 to start the season. They're going to face off against West Virginia. I told you guys yesterday I was going to start putting the show the tip-off times in there because it's just helpful. 81% of the bets, aka the public, are firebombing on this Campbell side of things here. But only 57% of the cash. So one of the bigger, potential sharper differentials tonight on the board is towards this West Virginia side. 24%. But the books have moved it down a point. So if you like West Virginia, you're getting a better line now. And if you're chasing the public road dog, you may want to think twice. That's probably what I would say in relation to that. The totals come down from 140.5 to 138.5. And here's an interesting situation. You have 67% of the bets and 69% of the cash on the over. And it's come down 2 points. We cashed on the West Virginia squad to the under the other day, and we got some great live line spots because that first half got away from them a little bit. They played Mount St. Mary's. Good old Mount St. Mary's. And they found themselves winning 70-54, but that first half got ugly, and we were able to get an extra 10 points on the backside of this thing. Flip side, Campbell Camels stink. Surprise, surprise. They played a notable school in Wisconsin. Maybe you've heard of them. Wisconsin ran them off the tracks. 96-64. They got busted up by 32 points. For me, this West Virginia team feels like we're going to cash on some unders this year. And it's the way that I want to keep playing. Very low score. Well, weird. It was just, so it ended with 124. I watched this game. At one point, you could get 148.5. And I think we had 135.5. I can't remember the 136.5, I think was the number that we had. It was just, and then it ends at, they just came out in that second half. They flipped the switch. They figured out the style of ball they play. Their coach said they want to pass the ball around. They want to play a slower pace. And I believe that's what we see here in this evening's game. Just got to read the tea leaves. Whoops, we already talked about that one. And we got a 138.6. No, it should be 138.5. Excuse me. Going to ride this one. Going to ride West Virginia for a while and see how long we can go with this under trend. But I think, again, from a matchup perspective, these guys are going to struggle on the other side to score 60 points. And so even if we get these boys rolling off at 78, we're still at 138, and we still got the 0.6 in our back pocket. So I'm just kidding. It should say 0.5. Excuse me. Last game in college hoops, I'm going to give you guys here for the action in the board. Let's see what you guys have to say. Let's see what you guys have to say. Wow. You guys are talkative tonight. I like it. Magnifico says, Mikey, I've never bet a hockey play in my life. Have Kings only gone over this once this season? They've only won once at home this season. I'll tell you that. No, I don't think they've only won once. What did I have on the board? Oh, sorry. The Kings are on the right side of there. They won 6 times. My bad. I see the question. My fault. My fault on the process out there. Let's see. Gualo says it can go over. Gualo says Bethune went toe-to-toe with Auburn. It's got to be a little gas bag factor. J-Man says, I'll be on Bethune here. Weekers Midnight says, how about Omaha Mavericks? Omaha. J-Man says, public on Bethune too. Jay Davis says, Bethune best SWAC team and more experienced. Bethune Cookman plus 18 for him. Magnifico says, how's your NFL Survivor going? I'm out, dude. I've been out. Sucks, but that's one less. You know, it's funny. I made a boatload of money on the, was it the Redskins on a comeback a couple weeks ago? It was a big Redskins comeback game that we were live streaming for. It was Monday night. And I woke up Tuesday and I was looking at my cash and I was like, this is nice. And then something dawned on me midday that was like, oh shit, I had the other side in the Survivor. So that sucked, but hey, I still pocketed. It was okay. JPC parlayed under Kings game, under Miami Hurricanes. Pays out almost 3 times my money. Sancho says AB arrested for murder, attempted murder. Yep. Weekers Midnight says Omaha Mavericks money line. Gary Davis says, I bet under 141 on Campbell. Cameron Sinet says, I can't blame him too much. Sancho, punters aren't real people. Stuff, dude. Irish King says, cashed heavy last night in NBA and NHL money lines and player props. I got to call. I fired off a new strategy in the NBA, and it, like I said, it paid. It was 2-0, and then I fucked around on. It wasn't part of the strategy, and I lost it. So I mean, I was 2-1 on live betting the NBA last night, but then hockey as well. So anyhow, we can't do anything about last night. We're here to talk about today. That's where we can play. That's where we can find our pay. Robert Morris and Drake are rolling. I'll tell you what, you want to go fucking off the board and get something crazy? I'd consider Lemoyne because Xavier's got new coach, new program, new system. So keep that in mind. Keep it in mind. Robert Morris and Drake will pop off at 7:30. This line opened at 8.5. It's moved to 7.5 in the Robert Morris direction. 88% of the bets and 80% of the cash are on Bobby Morris. Total's gone from 150.5 to 151.5. Did you have 56% of the bets and 54% of the cash? Excuse me. Excuse me. Good old Bobby Morris. You know, if the public likes the dog, they got to be looking at an over to some degree. And Drake, we had them on the over that afternoon game against Northern Arizona. It was 144.5. Line functionality, they're putting another 7 points on this thing. They're saying this game's going to go sail over the number. And I think the driving force is the surprise behind Bobby Morris. Now, they let Iowa score 101 points on him. So, this is a dog with fleas. I might start using that more. Anyhow, the total was 136.5. It's now 151.5. They put up 69 points. I think this is another spot where Drake's an over team this year. We cashed it the other day. I'm going to go back to it, and I'll give you some intersecting zeros because we like our intersecting zeros, don't we? Makes us feel good. Makes us feel safe. Drake's got Robert Morris has got 13-0 to the over. When they're a dog of over 4.5 points, they got less than 7 days of rest. And they allowed less than 12 threes the last game. In other words, their defense stood on their heads. And do they do it again? The answer is no. 13 times, the answer is no after they play stellar defense, or at least from beyond the arc, right? And they're averaging 159.5 points a game. So we got plenty of margin. We got almost a 10-pack in our back pocket. Those are the spots that we want to find, is that margin with multiple attempts behind it, right? So 10 points, it's like 5 baskets, right? And we know they're not 3-point. Well, maybe they're 3-pointers if they allowed less than 12 threes the previous game. But in any event, plenty of margin, plenty of meat on that bone, if you will. And then Drake has a 9-0 over spot. Home total between 136 and 152.5. Forced less than 11 turnovers. Gave up over 69 points. In other words, they didn't quite have their defense. Ergo, they're kind of more of an over team. And as long as that number's not bottoming out like a Houston game with a 128, game tends to go over. It's gone over 9 times. The average number of points they're scoring are 158. Again, an 8-pack in our margin should be comfortable for us to get on this Drake over 150.5. This game, the last time watching that afternoon spot, it flirted all day with the number. And then at the end of the second quarter or second half, they put the foot on the gas and the thing got over for us by 4 or 5 points. So I'll run it back. I'll take Drake on the over and keep her moving. What else do you guys have to say about that? Nasty Nate says Drake's going to smash. Let's go. Okay. Talked a minute ago about one of my favorite terms that my guy Shark uses. First time I had heard it was from my man Shark. And guess what he said? Line functionality kind of creates an interesting bubble. In the NBA, there's one game. It's an island game. Expect some fuckery. I bet you the Clippers went out right. They stink right now. 62% of the bets and 62% of the cash are on the Suns. It's moved from them as a dog to them as a favorite. You pass through 0. You never pass through 0. Now, I believe this number, if you can explain it, it's a different story, right? And we know that Kawhi's out. Who else is out? Bear with me for a second. I should give you guys at least a fair look at what the fuck is going on, right? I shouldn't just spout off the cuff while you hear what I have to say. Grayson Allen's downgraded to questionable. And I think there's one more guy. Why can't I think of it all? I had it all written down, and then I lost it. It doesn't matter. I'm not playing the side anyways. Fuck it. Kawhi, Jordan Miller, Kobe Sanders, and the downgraded to questionable status for Grayson Allen. On the other side, Dylan Brooks will be out for the Suns. So there's some firepower there that's going to be absent from this lineup, which helps me feel comfortable about looking at this spot. These two teams played a month ago. They sailed over 230, well, didn't sail, but they went over 230 points when they played. Right now, you got 92% of the bets and 92% of the cash on the over. Come down. I think we're going to see that be the number pretty much all year. We're going to, or at least until things start bottoming out to unders. But tomorrow's the big start for the NBA midseason tournament again. So the NBA Cup takes off again tomorrow. And I suspect in this case here, with all these injuries that are going on, I don't think these guys, and they got another game coming up as well. So it's kind of like get through this one. You get back home if you're the Clippers. You got a couple home games in a row to kind of get healthy, get rested up, and get back after these Phoenix Suns. So I don't think we see the A game from either of these teams on this game. I think because they both have key personnel that are out of this one. The line was open at 227. It's come down despite the fact that the last game went over 230.5. I'll take the Clippers under 224 in this game. We'll move on to Thursday night football. Actually, you know what? I do want to give you guys, I do have one more play it's a college football game. So humor me as we look at some college football action. Interesting games. We were dialed in. I think overall the reads were 3-1 through the Maction spot there. It makes sense. I'm a Maction guy. It's not good football, but it's my region of the country. So I see it. I read about it a lot. It's fucking always on TV and they're always talking about it on the news. So -4.5 on Appy State have gone to 5s and 5.5. 48% of the bets and 66% of the cash come over on the Appy State side of things. This total has gone from 60.5 to 61.5 with 48% of the bets and 74% of the cash on the over. It has moved to the over. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know how Georgia is going to get that over. I don't know how they're going to drive their points. It scares me a little bit. And the fact that the line's moving gets me thinking about one team that just kind of came off of getting shut down. Now, this team has been steamrolled. They played Boise. They got busted up. It's Boise. What are you going to do? You're second tier school. You're the development program that ends up getting the kids with the NIL dollars to go to Boise. That's who you are, Appy State. And they were on the road in elevation. So, okay. Since then, they played Oregon State at home. They put up 27 points. They played Georgia State, an equally shit Georgia school. They put up 41 points. They played Coastal Carolina. They put up 37 points. They go to Old Dominion, and somehow the squeaky, sneaky little Old Dominion team held them to 21 points. On the other side of things, Georgia Southern's allowed 34, 24, 38, 35. I mean, this team's the only team they really kept shut down was James Madison. Oh, I'm sorry. The only team they kept shut down was Maine. Fucking Maine. 45-17. Okay. So what are you going to do here if you're sitting on this Appy State side of things here? Well, you're going to look to bounce back and you're at home, so it's a great place to do it. I've always said this. One of the most interesting places to play has to be Appy State. This is a difficult trip. I like West Virginia. I like Appy State. I like Penn State. You know what I like about these schools? Well, I like Penn State for a lot of reasons, but when you have to travel extensively from your travel destination to get to the site of the game, that fucks teams up. And not only does it fuck teams up, it keeps it now you've just come from a plane or train or however they get there to a bus and an extensive bus trip. But you know what else it does? It keeps the road fans away. So you get a home field advantage that I think will get these boys loud and proud here. They both kind of stink in this case. Georgia Southern's lost 3 of its last 4. Appy State's lost 4 of its last 6. So this is kind of like that last punch in hurrah. It's a Thursday night, kind of that island situation. They'll be on some national televised situation. They're averaging 30.3 points a game in conference play. They got 41 and 37, 2 of their last 3. This kind of feels like this is how we balanced the Northern Illinois game yesterday to the team total under. Flip side of this is I want to take the Appy State team total over. Georgia Southern's literally the worst defense, one of the worst defenses in college football. They're allowing 35.4 points a game, and that makes them 128th ranked. They give up a shit ton of yards, 453. That's 129th in football. Keep in mind, there's 135 teams? And they're 135th in the country. 130, there's got to be 136 at least in defensive success rate. They stink. They're giving up at least 34 points in 6 of their last 8 games. So you got an Appy State team at home, fired up, home crowd, midweek game. You know what happens. That place is going to be bumping. It's going to be pumping. Everyone's going to be excited. They don't care if the team stinks. It's all you got. What else are you doing in Appy State? That I don't know. That I don't know what else you do in Appy State. But I do know. I want to look at this team total for Appy State. And the best number, let's see. I think Appy State can come back here and fire. I kind of like the full game to go under, but I don't want to get too cute. You can get 33.5 on the Appy State team total over at minus 118. So App State team total over 33.5. It's not 33.8, and it's minus 118. I think that's the best way to attack this Appy State game as it relates to college football. And then UTSA, South Florida. South Florida probably runs them off the tracks. 69% of the bets on South Florida, but 63% of the cash on UTSA. You want them meet Roadrunners? Not me. No, their defense stinks too. They're 4-4. South Bulls. Here's the thing. South Florida, man, this is a team that's beaten schools. I mean, they slay dragons. They follow the blood trail into the woods, and they come home with dinner. You know, they've taken down Bama teams. Look at they got a who's, and they're busting teams up. They crushed North Texas, who was one of those teams that was supposed to be battling for the conference title. 63-36. They all but shut them down. Everybody was blowing Charlotte at some point this season for some reason or another. They busted them up 54-20. All they do is win. Literally, South Carolina State, they covered a 36.5. South Florida covers that Charlotte 27.5. They're dogs to North Texas by 2.5. They handed them their ass. They beat them up so bad, they took their girlfriends home with them. They're 2.5-point dogs. They won by almost 30. They covered against the Florida Atlantic Owls. They're 20.5-point dogs. So they bust teams up. They played Memphis. They were 3.5-point favorites on the road at a Memphis team. Gritty Memphis. They lost outright. So they're in a bounce back position as well. I think UTSA gets fucked up here. That's a bad spot for UTSA. There you go. There's a little there's a little analysis on that side. And excuse me. Let's go to the NFL and talk some Thursday night football. We will be live. We will be live streaming this game tonight at 7:45 here at the Sports Money Network. The boys will be ready. The cocktails will be flowing. The ice will be cold. And will it be cold in Denver? It's mile high. It's minus 6.5 has moved to minus 9. 67% of the bets and 55% of the cash are on the Denver Broncos. It's moved considerably in their direction. Late buying has come back the other way. Usually when we see the U, what does the U mean? Sharps whack it early, the public steam chases, and then the sharps come back in and chase it back the other way, so the sharps create a middle. The sharps think this middle's around 7 points, 7.5 points. Makes sense. I don't know where this fucking teaser protection term came up. It's funny, a year ago I bet teasers and everyone was like, can't be profitable on teasers. We won so much on teasers that they moved the lines. And not just for me, but for everybody. Minus 130s, minus 130. You can never win on teasers. I remember the fucking curmudgeon that said that. And I was like, dude, I'm not only going to do it, I'm going to show you how to do it. And then we spent time talking about it on live streams. This is how you win on teasers. And it's gotten so mainstream that they came up with this term called teaser protection. So I guess the teaser protection is where you get the 6 points. And they, the key numbers are 3, 7s, 10s, and 11s, I guess. And, they put a 9.5 on it so that when they get the teaser on the Broncos side of things, it's 3.5. So if they win by 3, they're covered. I think you're overthinking it. I don't like to tease down. I like to tease up. Spreads haven't mattered in the league this year. So why tease down? If the favorite wins, they're going to blow them out anyways. But if the dog wins, sometimes they win outright. Ergo Carolina Panthers that we talked about last week on the Sunday NFL Betting Blitz show with my guy Shark and I. So it's not a coincidence. It's not an accident. So why would you tease down the Broncos to 3.5 and have teaser protection or have the books teaser protection when you can take the Raiders and you can take them up to 15? So now you got to look at it and think to yourself, do I believe in these Raiders? I talked about the moves that they've made on an offensive coordinator basis. Last week, I talked about this on the show on Sunday. They've changed the schematics of the way they play football because Geno Smith's a pile of shit. And you can go look at it. You can look it up. Offensively, more screens, more runs. They're trying to get Genti more involved in the game, and they don't want to have to put it on Geno Smith's shoulders. Now, gotta give them credit. They were getting busted up. Well, they weren't even getting busted. They fought battle against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was an overtime game. And even after they got scored on in overtime, first time the rule's been implemented this year, the Raiders got a chance to go out there and score. And what do? They scored. Arguably, they could have won, but they went for 2. I guess why not at that point? The overtime was almost over. You need a tie if you're the Raiders, or is it a morale victory to come out there, come from behind, and win by 2? I don't know. They were up. Jacksonville fought back. They were up. Jacksonville fought back. Jacksonville went up. The Raiders fought back. They didn't quit is what I'm trying to get at with that game. Now, the Broncos just beat Houston 18-15. CJ Shitbag Stroud. He's another guy that didn't give up. The problem that CJ Stroud had is he got hurt in the first quarter. So you took out a team in Houston that had some new pieces coming back. They had to get their quarterback out of there. And with this great defense, all you could muster up is an 18-15 win. And now you're telling me I got to lay 9.5 points on you to FAFO? I mean, I'm not in the business of fucking around to find out. I'm in the business of taking the points and saying that I'm not going to take a dog unless I think they have a shot to win outright. And guess what? The caveat to this whole equation is, guess who's on deck next week for the Broncos? Kansas City Chiefs. Why is that important? Kansas City's been pretty fucking phenomenal. So at the end of the day, you got to lean on Bo Nix. And then if you beat these boys up and you see that they won't quit, do you dump your whole playbook out there to beat this Vegas team that means dog shit in the grand scheme of trying to have good seeding for the playoffs? Or do you hold some things back? Do you get some players with that extended couple days off, right? Because they have the mini bye, they call this Thursday Night Football. And I don't think you dump everything out there. I don't think you gas everything to go out there and beat the Las Vegas Raiders. They're focused on the Kansas City Chiefs and getting this mini bye. They want to do just enough to get out of here with a win. And I think that's why we see the late buyback on the Las Vegas Raiders side of things. I'll take the 9.5 points. Can't believe I'm doing it. I got them in the 33 pool. Hopefully they scored 33 points tonight. And maybe they'll win outright. So we'll see what it does. Jerry Davis, shout out to you. Trap God in the house. This Pinnacle, best place for teasers. Still got minus 110 lines. Tech B says, I tease every sport. There's profit. I don't tease basketball. That's 4 points. Guess I'd have to reflect on it because I was talking about the hookers to start the show off, you guys. It's 7 o'clock on the dot. I got to get about 5 minutes sooner in the show. So let's get it rolling. Toucan says, you do drugs. Who does drugs? Who does drugs? Not me. Not me. Sometimes. Kind of depends on the drug. No, I'm just kidding. Qualo says, Jerry Davis bet I took the under 141.5. Dirty Reg says, but can they cover the number? Hope you guys are, I'm going bottom up. That's it, you guys. That's the end of the show. Appreciate everybody coming in to watch. We'll be back tomorrow here, 6 p.m. to do it again. And don't you forget, we got the live show tonight. Man, I told you, I've been on that JPZ groove all day. So let's get after it, you guys. Let's hear what he had to put together for us. Best outro in the goddamn business. And I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for Pregaming at 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. We don't stop. Rain, sleet, or snow. Pregaming is good to go. Snow, Curtis, blow, flow, fuck.